a maximum of 5 minutes for the Hust. You don't have to use it all, and then there'll be questions. So yeah, Anna, if you want to go when you're ready.
Yeah. Hi everyone. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Anna, a second year chemistry student, and I'd love to be your sports and societies officer this year. This is a role that I've held this year as well, but I'm sure you can imagine that it's looked very different to what I expected or planned for. As for the majority of my time as sports societies officer, sports haven't been able to run at all, and societies haven't been able to run in their usual way either. And this is one of the biggest motivations for me running for this role again. I feel that with the skills I've developed this year, in all sorts of areas, from looking at sport risk assessments to organising online events, to understanding the SJCR and team going better, I'm well equipped to continue in this role for the coming year. And with the prospect of more sport coming at some point as well, hopefully, I might even get to do some of what I promised to do when I ran last year. On that note, let me talk you through some of my plans for the next year, if I'm elected, and why I think they're so important. One of my biggest aims would be to increase participation in sports and societies when they're allowed to meet again in some capacity, with the aim of ensuring all our teams and societies can rebuild effectively. The first years this year and the incoming freshers in September would be the biggest target in this, as they're the future of sports and societies at Johns. I'd seek to run a really good, well-publicised freshers fair, whether online or in person, and would ensure that the sports and societies section of the website is easy to navigate and kept up to date with relevant information. I'd also be keen to run a refreshers fair at some point, possibly in the middle of Michaelmas term or the start of Epiphany term, once everyone is settled into Durham life, to allow any member of the SJCR, from undergrads to the MCR to Cranmer, the opportunity to sign up for teams really easily in one place once they know their workload better. This could be followed by a week of taster-style training sessions where teams specifically try and include people who've never played their sport before. I'd also be keen to continue making use of the social medias that George has set up this year, trying to communicate results, publicise events, and celebrate achievements, with the aim of encouraging everyone in college to get involved with our sports teams and societies. I'd also like to improve the admin and organisation of our sports and societies. One of the ways I would do this would be through working with current captains, presidents, treasurers, to ensure they pass their knowledge on to those taking on their roles for the next year. I'd like to ensure each sport and society keeps a record of spending and passes this on to their new exec. This would improve the accuracy of budgeting and make it easier for sports and societies to justify the budget that they're requesting. I'd also try and put together a bank of risk assessments containing a risk assessment for each sport. This is particularly relevant while COVID is still a concern, but even under normal circumstances, it would work to ensure that our sports teams are doing everything they can to keep people safe. I love sport, and from the moment I arrived at Johns, I've got stuck into loads of teams as well as some societies. I know how important sports and societies are for building friendships, for meeting people with the same interests as you, and for mental and physical well-being. I really care about sports and societies at Johns, and would love the opportunity this year to help rebuild the sports and societies that make up such a huge part of life at Johns. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Anna. Any questions of clarification? Any general questions? Molly?
Oh, how will you ensure that the welfare of team members is considered and that teams are aware of how they can be more inclusive?
So I guess by working with captains to ensure that they know how to look after their team members. I want to make sure that the captains and presidents are trained in some way in regards to welfare, so that they can make sure that they're safe and inclusive. But I'd also, I guess, want to make sure that I have a really open door so that people can come to me directly. So if there's something going on in their teams that they don't feel comfortable talking to their captains about, or they can come straight to me and we can take it further from there, so they don't have to go through their other teammates.
Thank you. George, please.
What's your favourite sports or society, and why is it dodgeball?
I mean, my favourite sport is rugby. So, yeah, I always wear my fleece. I can't deny it, unfortunately.
Gabriel, next, please.
Yes, so I'm just wondering, how aware do you think that sports captains and society members, how aware do you think they are of disability inclusion? To your experience, is there any training available?
Yeah, I think there definitely needs to be more training available in terms of inclusion in our sports and societies. Yeah, I don't think it's something that we're particularly great at, and yeah, I guess it's something that I would be keen to ensure that captains get some sort of training in, so that we want sports and societies to be a place where everyone's welcome. So yeah, that's a really good point, and yeah, that's something I'd want to work on as well.
Thanks. Alice?
How would you deal with vacancies created through COVID, whether that be kind of in teams or especially captains or presidents? How would you deal with handovers in that kind of scenario?
Yes, I guess normally a lot of like people going into second year would take on captaincies, which obviously if they haven't been on the teams this year will be a bit more challenging. So I guess if there aren't people in third year if there aren't people who are in second year at the minute who want to keep those captaincies for third year, then I guess it'd be working with them to ensure that they can pass the knowledge on that they have, or that the older members of the team have. I think just creating a space where they can share knowledge, and just making sure every team does have a captain, even if they don't have a lot of experience, and then just making sure that we like pool the knowledge from all the different teams, and just I guess use that.
Thanks. Any last questions? Oh, I think there is one just coming in from Lewis.
If there was one sports team you feel that Johns is lacking, what would it be, and how would you go about establishing that sports team / society?
I think one that I had a few questions from freshers about this year was volleyball, because we don't have a volleyball team as of this year. So I'd be keen to maybe get them involved in setting up more of a volleyball team, so that I don't have to keep pointing them to go and play for Chads instead. I think that's probably the one that I would go for.
Great, thank you, Anna, and everyone who asked a question. Unless there are no kind of last burning questions, I think we'll move on. So next up is SJ